Yesterday, I made a thread on Twitter of how I recreated Diego Simeone's tactics on Football Manager, and today, well, here is the video. So in the video, we are going to be breaking down the results, how we recreated the meanest, the strongest defense in La Liga. Of course, it is a Diego Simeone tactic. And then, of course, we will also be playing some games. We've got a Champions League final against PSG. Hopefully, we can put on a defensive masterclass. So before we get stuck into things, if you are new or you haven't yet, if you are enjoying my type of content, make sure you are subscribed, leave a comment, like the video, share it. All of that will help the channel. But for now, let's get stuck in. Welcome back, people. Today's tactic is going to be slightly different to what we normally share on Football Manager. I mean, normally it's all positive, it's all attacking, counter pressing, a high press. Well, today we're just going to sit back and enjoy defending. Of course, as you can see, we still won the league. It's still a very strong tactic nonetheless. There's also two versions as well. Diego Simeone, he loves a tweak. He really does love a tweak. So we've got a tactic where we generally use it, of course, 80% of the matches when we're playing Cadiz, Granada. Basically, when you are the favourites, we've got a tactic for that, and then we've got a tactic for when you have to shut down the opposition. So what I'm going to do right now is load up a game that we played against Barcelona, and you can just see how effective we were at defending. So here is the game against Barcelona at the new camp, and of course this is where we used our more defensive tactic, where we're just sitting back, really enjoying that heavy defense and basically just cancelling out the opposition. As we can see here, Barcelona did have 11 shots at our goal. They had 7 shots on target, but their XG was fairly low. It was fairly poor at 0.69, so they wasn't even expected to score a single goal. And we can also see how we limited their chances by simply just watching the key highlights. So if I just watch the key highlights, we will see here as well. Sorry guys, I do normally play in 2D, so today we're going to play in 2D as well, and then for the replays, I mean, we'll just watch the goals or whatever. But as we can see here, the only highlight, the key highlight they had was a set piece, and it was a penalty appeal. So there wasn't even a chance, there wasn't a shot at goal when it comes to key highlights. Here we can see, Fernando Torres, crash goal, brings him down possibly, but then it goes to VAR, and the VAR says no. And that was literally the only key highlight during the game, which is exactly what we want. We want to shut down Barcelona, and that was the main objective. As you can see, all the key highlights are finished, and that was it. So now, going back to the Twitter thread, as you can see, I've already analysed this game as well. So analysing Barca's chances and my defending a little deeper, Barcelona's shot map isn't threatening at all. As we can see, the low XG on each shot, and 5 of the 11 shots were headers, and we know that Barcelona are no threat in the air apart from Gerard Piqué. We successfully forced them wide as well, which was the defensive aim, get them away from goal and really limit their chances. As you can see, a lot of our tackles won and our interceptions all happened in those wider areas. Now we can also see that we forced Barcelona into a lot of crosses, and as you can also see, they were very unsuccessful. We have 3 big defenders in the box, so Barcelona whipping the ball into the box again is really no threat. And as you can see, they had around 24 unsuccessful crosses inside our box. And then lastly, you can see their completed passes. They completed a lot of passes. 685 passes, they had all the possession, but then again, we just sat back and we allowed them because our objective was to protect our goal and not let them create any good scoring chances. And as you can see, they basically completed passes all over the pitch apart from inside our box. So inside our box, around that zone 14 area, we were well protected. So again, thumbs up to the defending. We defended very, very well, extremely well, which is really rare on Football Manager. It's really hard to achieve, and it doesn't happen all the time. You can concede 1 or 2. We played Manchester United. Unfortunately, we conceded away from home and we lost the game 1-0, but then similar, we really limited their chances and it took a really good goal for Manchester United to break us down. So as you can see here, our defensive shape against Barcelona, I mean, everybody is inside our own half. We've got all 11 or 10 outfield players inside our own half, including the 2 strikers, and this just shows how much we had to defend. But then when we play Seville, we beat them 3-1 at home, where we are the favourite, so we did use the favourite tactic, and as you can see, we still not quite high. There's only 2 players inside Seville's half of the pitch, and it's the 2 strikers. Apart from that, we're still operating in that sort of mid-block and making it really difficult for Seville to break us down. During this game, we had 14 chances. I mean, on Football Manager, we know that we can create up to 20-30 chances, so 14 chances is not a lot. We still had to do our defending, and we still had to prioritize that we are very well protected in defense. Whoa, hold your horses, hold your horses. This video is sponsored by the wonderful fantasy football app, Spitch. This brand new football app allows you to build your own team where you can compete against other people. I'm talking strangers, your friends, and even myself, with your captain earning you some double points. And the best part about the app is that you don't necessarily need to be a football nerd, because all of the football stats it's inside the app. It's inside the app, and all the help you need as well setting up is all inside the app. There's weekly competition, so it's not just based off one season. It's not a seasonal thing. Each week you can win your fair share of £70,000. Now, that is one huge injection. To get involved, UK users have to provide their ID once they submit their first team, and this app is only available to those currently living in the UK and Ireland. So make sure you go and check out the app. Make sure you go and win some money. Make sure you gamble aware as well. To download the app, you must use the link that's in the description and have fun. Have some fun on this brand new fantasy football app, Spitch. Let's get back into Football Manager. Now, before we jump into the Football Manager tactic and have a really deep dive into it, let's have a brief analysis of how Atleti are set up in real life. Atletico Madrid set up in a 3-5-2 formation, with their width provided by the wing-backs and the wide centre-backs occasionally overlapping, more so on the left side. The right-sided central midfielder is responsible for breaking forward and attacking that right half space, whilst the central midfielder and the left-sided central midfielder can be seen forming somewhat of a double pivot. The 2 forwards look to occupy the central defenders, by João Felix playing a similar role as to a false 9, dropping deep and operating in the space created by his strike partner, who pins back and pushes defenses, creating depth. Out of possession, the 3-5-2 transitions into a 5-3-2, and Simeone has his side generally defending in a mid block, but against the bigger side, so to speak, Atleti defend in a mid to low block. They look to keep their midfield and forwards narrow, protecting the central areas and forcing the teams out wide away from their goal. When defending the flanks, the team shift over, remaining compact and narrow, making sure to protect the channels. In possession, no team in La Liga has scored more counter-attacking goals than Atleti. They scored 6 on the counter and also strong from set pieces, scoring 8. Atletico are excellent in their transitions. Forcing the opponents out wide and regaining possession means that Atleti can have immediate forward passing options. As mentioned earlier, Atleti's left centre back especially operates as a wide central defender, and this allows the left wing back to push higher as a left winger. Since Atletico play with no wingers, the right sided central midfielder, he makes runs in behind as if he was the right winger. These moves from deep are also extremely effective. Even though Atleti try to build up from the back, it does not mean that they do not try the more direct approach sometimes. By having 2 mobile strikers who can make smart runs in behind, this option is very possible and can surprise the opponent. And that there wraps up my brief tactical analysis on Diego Simeone, which is going to help me now recreate my Football Manager tactic, which I've already done. So now let's head over into Football Manager and have a look. So here is the 3-5-2 that the game has given us by default, which is actually fairly similar to the end result. It's fairly similar to the end result. But what we're going to do is now put some players in positions, and this is going to kind of help me explain their player roles just a little bit better. In goal, we have Jan Oblak, who is just going to be the standard goalkeeper, the book standard goalkeeper. We don't need a sweeper keeper because we aren't going to be using a higher defensive line at all. In defense, like we have explained a little bit earlier, we are going to be using 2 wide centre backs as the wider centre backs, which we're just going to use Mario Hermoso as the left sided centre back here, and for the right sided centre back we can use Stefan Savic. So we're just going to change these roles into wide centre backs as well. If you wanted to be a little bit more adventurous, you can use Hermoso as the wide centre back on support. support, but the team fluidity is what I kept my eye on. I wanted this to be structured. Once I changed his duty into support, it then went to flexible, which is what I don't really want. Team fluidity, it doesn't necessarily mean much. It's just labeling how much supportive roles, attacking roles, defensive roles you have put on your tactic. But just for my mind's sake, I wanted it to be unstructured, so there we go. And then in the middle of defense, we got Jose Jimenez, who's going to be covering up the two wide centre backs, and he's going to be a traditional central defender. Now moving on to the wing backs, the left wing backs, he's got to kind of operate as the left winger. He's got to be occupying that left flank, and he's got to operate as the left winger, because we don't necessarily have anybody kind of penetrating that left flank, only that left wing back. I love Carrasco. I love Carrasco. Would normally go for Red and Lodi, but on this game I went with Carrasco, and of course on the home tactic I used him as a complete wing back, where he has the freedom to just attack. He can attack, and Hermoso, he will shift over as the left back as cover. But in the big tactic, we did shift this down to a wing back on attack. Basically, he just has a little bit more of a defensive responsibility, and he's not roaming from his position like a complete wing back would. And on the right hand side, I did use Marcos Llorente a lot, and we are using him on the wing back on the fen. The wing back on the fen, his main focus is to stay deep. The reason why we're not using support is because the wing back on support loves to get further forward. When we are trying to build up from the back, I mean, this is what kept happening. We had our left wing back going all the way up here, our right wing back going all the way up here as well. Just because he's a wing back on support, it doesn't mean he wasn't going to get further forward. He got further forward, and my word was he high. So to stop that, we did use a wing back on the fen. And again, when you are looking at Atleti in real life, this wing back isn't necessarily bombing up and down. He may support from time to time, but he's not necessarily bombing up and down that right flank. So that is our defense sorted. Here we have the complete wing back, the wing back on the fen, and our two wide centre backs in our back three. Now moving ahead into midfield for the Koke role, someone that's just protecting that back line, making sure that zone 14 is covered, making sure that central zone is covered. I did use a central midfielder on the defensive duty. Now what he's going to do, he's going to kind of stop the counter attacks. He's just going to sit deep, curtailing the opposition's counter attacks and controlling the tempo of the game from the middle of the pitch. And for the left side, the central midfielder, I did use Kondogbia here, and we did use a Carrilero. Someone that's just going to operate in between the lines in midfield, shift out wide, protecting the wide areas as well, basically protecting that left half channel. And this in turn makes us very difficult to break down. Teams are going to struggle to operate in those half spaces. And then in the right half space, we do have that Mezzala on attack, and he also has to operate kind of as that right winger. So this is our midfield three. Kondogbia on the left as that Carrilero, a lot less adventurous than Rodrigo on the right hand side of midfield, who's going to be that Mezzala, basically that false right winger, and he's going to be making those penetrative runs fairly often. Now lastly, we can move over into attack. For most part of the season, I did use Griezmann as the left sided striker, but then I mean his finishing is a bit 50-50 on this game. Then I changed it to Suarez, and again his finishing was kind of 50-50. But on the left hand side, we do have the advanced forward, someone pinning back the opposition defenses, but also he has to chase down those loose balls. If we need to clear the ball, the advanced forward has to be ready to be chasing down those balls. But of course also, if we are looking for an output, if we are looking for someone to be hitting more directly, again we have Luis Suarez, the advanced forward, pinning back defensive and making it very difficult. And talk about pinning back defenses, when he's doing that, he's creating depth, he's pushing them back, and then this allows our false nine, our magic man João Felix. I mean, I am so happy about João Felix's performance on this game this season. Now if we do look at his form or his stats, he played 32 games, he scored 18 goals with 4 assists. His average rating is on 7.31, but he did suffer a big nasty injury, which means he misses the Champions League final. But here, this is the player roles for this Atleti team. I mean, this is how I recreated it basically. This is the team when we are the favorite. Now when you are playing the big sides, there's not much difference to this apart from Carrasco. Now he is the wing back like we explained a little earlier. But that's the player roles all set up. Now let's move over to the team instructions. Now, to make things a little bit easier for me, I have the team instructions already set up on the screen. It's just going to be a little bit easier for me to explain as I'm talking along. So for the mentality, we're just going to stick with the balanced mentality. Now, this is for the stronger tactic, and this is also for the tactic when you are playing against those Barcelonas, those Real Madrids away from home. We're just going to stick with this balanced mentality, and what you will see during the game, the team kind of balances its risk. And what I did also notice is when the opposition kind of go to a man down, we automatically shift higher. And I also notice when we are playing against those weaker teams, naturally we do press a little bit higher, and we are playing with a little bit more risk, a little bit more freedom. I'm guessing the team just kind of works that out themselves. And then when we are playing those sort of better teams, the Real Sociedads, the Sevillas, who do have a little bit more of possession, we aren't necessarily defending as high as we were when we are playing against Cadiz and Granada. So for the mentality, we are going to be sticking with the balanced mentality. The attacking width is set to standard. We're not going to change a thing. For the approach play, again, the same thing. We aren't going to be changing a thing. The passing directness set to standard, but for the tempo, extremely high. As you will see, for in possession, we're keeping things at minimal. We're not overdoing things. We're not loading in a whole load of instructions, confusing the players. We're not going to be doing that. But for the tempo, we're going to operate with an extremely high tempo, basically trying to get the ball back to front in a fairly quick manner. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean once the defenders get the ball, they're just going to be looking to get the ball further forward straight away. No, generally we will be playing at a quicker tempo, similar to real life. Atletico don't normally string a lot of passes. I mean, I've been watching games where Atletico on average string 3-4 passes before losing possession, and this kind of tells you that they aren't necessarily focused on keeping the ball. They do want to try and create their chances in a quicker fashion. In the final third, we are going to be playing for set pieces. Again, we aren't necessarily playing with a lot of risk and a lot of freedom, so we don't necessarily create a lot of chances. Playing for set pieces, Atleti are strong in set pieces in real life. They scored 8 so far. So playing for set pieces, I feel this is a good opportunity to get our defender forward and possibly nick a result by scoring from a set piece. And for the dribbling, we are going to be running at defense. I find this just works on Football Manager. It's strong in this setup, as we can just progress with the ball with our feet by bringing the ball forward. Now in transition, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. When possession has been lost, we are going to regroup, and when the possession has been won, we're just going to hold our shape. Now, I know that I said in the analysis that Atleti scored the most goals so far on the counter-attack, but that doesn't necessarily mean that when they do counter, they're just throwing everybody forward. I did use counter, and what happens is that even the central midfielder on the fed, he gets further forward. So when we are on a counter-attack, sometimes you see your central midfielder on the fend inside the opponent's box, which is what we don't want at all from this Diego Simeone tactic. So we are going to be holding our shape, but this doesn't necessarily mean that nobody runs further forward. We still have our 2 strikers, where you will notice once we win the ball, we do still try to look for those 2 strikers and get the ball forward, and this is where the 2 strikers work their magic, as we can see here. But also not to dismiss that your Mazzala, he's on the attacking duty, and his role, his job is to get further forward, make those penetrative runs, and similar to the left wing back as well. So you're not necessarily holding your shape. Well, not everybody is going to be holding a shape. Once we are in control of the ball, then you will start to notice the Mazzala, the complete wing back, making those penetrative runs forward. And when the goalkeeper is in possession, he will look to distribute the ball to the fullbacks, and he will also throw it long. Now for out of possession, and this is where the second tactic changes as well. So we are going to be operating with a higher defensive line and a higher line of engagement, but this is where you guys come into play. This is where you guys really need to be the manager. Against Cadiz, against Granada, this is where we can have a higher defensive line, but then against Real Sociedad, against Seville, Real Betis, so not the poor teams, kind of the mid teams, you can now drop your defensive line back down to standard, where now we're focusing a little bit more on defending than we would against Cadiz and Granada. So this is the instructions here. The trigger press is set to more often as well. This is where we're going to actively force the opposition out wide. So we're not going to be pressing aggressively, trying to win the ball back like a gegenpress. We're going to kind of press, leave our position to try and force them out wide, and we can put them in our defensive trap. And for the tackling, we're going to be aggressive by getting stuck in and forcing the opposition out wide. Now, for when you are playing against the bigger teams. This is where you're going to be using the lower defensive line and the standard line of engagement. Now, a lot of people complain that defensive tactics doesn't necessarily work on Football Manager. Well, it can. It can. It just means you aren't going to win 3-0. It just means you aren't going to win 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. I mean, most of the games you're going to draw, as you saw as our results. We drew a lot of games 0-0, and that is kind of what you want. That's what you want from your defensive tactics. You don't necessarily want a match engine breaking tactic. And that there wrapped up the team. We can quickly skim through the player instructions as well. So the goalkeeper, he has none. The wide centre backs, they both have cross less often as well. The centre back in the middle, no added instructions. The complete wing back or the left wing back, he's going to be taking more risk, whilst the right wing back has no added instructions. Moving to midfield, Carrilero, no added instructions. The holding midfielder, no added instructions. Mazzala the same. For the false nine, now he's going to be marking tighter, and the advanced forward, he's going to be dribbling more, roaming from his position, and also marking tighter. But that there wraps up the tactic. My God, my mouth was just going bloop, 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 bloop. Now it's time to play those games. First of all, we are going to be playing that Madrid derby against Real Madrid. So let's load up that game and let's hopefully win. So here we are against Real Madrid. This is the team that we're going to go with. I mean, it's pretty much the first team that I really wanted, but the only difference is that Yannick Carrasco is injured. And also for out of possession, now we're playing Real Madrid, so we're not going to be operating with a higher defensive line. We've dropped this down to standard, and let's get stuck into things. So let's go. And like I said earlier as well, we're not expecting a lot of highlights here because none of us, well, I'm not necessarily attacking, and we're trying to stop their attacks. But here's Carvajal, Vinicius Junior. Oh, they've hit the bar, but it is offside, which I really hate on Football Manager. It counts as they hit the woodwork, though that opportunity was clearly offside. Courtois pulling off some saves. Atletico are in their groove. Come on, boys. So this is the heat map so far. As you can see, we're still defending the back five there. You can see the back five is intact. We have a highlight here. Thomas Lemar. Felipe, oh, we've hit the bar. We have now hit the bar against Real Madrid. Here's Carvajal now to Vinicius, but Hermoso picks up the ball. Felipe, Jimenez. This is where Atletico are now going to try and build up from the back. He brings the ball forward, that wide centre back. Doesn't find the option, but there's the Pau. Loriente looks for Griezmann, but that's easily dealt with by Militao, but it falls to Pene. Ref! What's the ref going to do? What's he deciding on? He's checking. It's penalty awarded to Atletico Madrid. Who's stepping up? It's Rodrigo. Oh, I don't like penalties on this game. And it's 1-0 to Atleti. Come on, boys. One 0 to the boys. And I mean, this is kind of what we want. This is what you guys are expecting as well. It's not fantasy football, and we've conceded or scored from a set piece, and hopefully we can nick this now. We can nick this result as Luka Modric. But they do get... And it's... Oh, what a save. What a save. I mean, the AI do get a lot of chances from throw-ins, and you will see that in this game as well. And it's fairly frustrating because there's no way of stopping it. Already, Real Madrid have had like 3 throw-ins, or their highlight has started from a throw-in. And we are at half-time. As you can see, Atletico, slightly the better team when it comes to the chances. But, of course, we have scored from the penalty spot. So what we're also going to do as well, we're just going to let this game ride out for an extra, I don't know, possibly 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then we're going to switch to the more defensive version and really try and kill the game. But let's not give away a penalty. Ferland Mendy, and it's another save by Jan Oblak. Hey, you can see that now we're really defending. There is going to be some pressure on our defense, which again is what we are expecting. Here's Jimenez, Felipe. Atletico now. It's their turn to build from the back. Condopia tries to make that run forward. Oh, the ball's almost gone in. It's almost gone in there. And that's sort of luck. That is the sort of luck that you are also relying on as well. And Real Madrid have equalised from a set piece of themselves, but it's going to VAR. The defenders are appealing for offside. Check and goal review. It's disallowed. For Atleti's luck, the goal has been disallowed. And now I believe it's time to change into that more defensive tactic. So we're just going to go into the second slot here. I mean, this is the beautiful thing. We we could just go to the second slot, not change a thing, and everybody is all sorted in their position and their roles. Again, look at Real Madrid's chances. I mean, their XG is at 0.75. Again, just not really creating a lot. They've had 2 half chances, to be fair. One of them was offside. Annoyingly, they actually count that. But here's Eder Militao, Carvajal, Valverde. Is this Real Madrid's chance, opportunity in the very dying minutes of this game? Lamar picks up the ball. Hermoso, Kondogbia, Lamar, Hermoso. Let's not lose the ball in this dangerous area. Thomas Lamar. I mean, we could have played the ball forward there. Koke, Rodrigo. This is nice football. Nicely worked by Atletico. He's found Griezmann. Griezmann's got behind this too. What a goal. Atleti have stolen it in the last minute. What a goal. That is there. That is Diego Simeone. That is Atletico to a T. Defend a lot and nick the game. We completely nicked the game right there at the death. We got a little bit of luck with the penalty, but that goal was no luck. We defended well. We collected the ball. We built and we scored. And we've ended the game with a clean sheet. Absolutely brilliant. Young Oblak is the man of the match. Imagine that. Of course he is. Oh, wow. What a result. What a game. Absolutely fantastic. Now it's time to move over. Look, that was the 13th game as well. And that gave us a 6-point lead ahead of Real Madrid. But now it's time to load up that PSG game where the Champions League final. Let's get stuck in. So here we are, the Champions League final. I mean, just look at PSG's expected lineup. It is quite remarkable. So it could be a long day in the office. It could be a long day in the office. We are of course also missing out on our key player, João Felix. I mean, we could start him, we could force him, but we're really not. And we're going to be using the defensive tactic as well. So yeah, come on the boys. I mean, this one could be bit of a long game. We've kicked it long. Kimpembe, Danilo finds Messi, Verratti now. This can be a long game. Hakimi in space out wide. Lionel Messi, Verratti, yeah. Beautifully worked. Oh, we've given away a penalty straight away. Giving away a penalty right away. Which is, that spoils all plans. That spoils all the plans. We're still putting pressure on PSG here, though. Donnarumma making saves. We've had 2 half chances already. I mean, they've scored a penalty. That's just fairly disappointing. This is fairly disappointing. So, I mean, look, we've shut them out completely. And the only goal they've scored is from the set piece. The penalty. I mean, this is... So what I'm going to do is actually shift this defensive line a bit higher. Let's try and get back into the game. I can't believe it. We're giving away a penalty literally in the 3rd minute of the game. PSG are trying everything to break down Atleti, but they really can't, can they? Let's win this against Mbappe. Yes, Rodrigo de Paul. Loriente. We really have to rely on moments of magic to get back into this game. Felipe. Hermoso. Don't lose the ball there, boys. Well done. Beautifully played. Rodrigo, make that run now. Come on, Carrera, you're through. Oh my God. Whoa. Oh my God. Those are the chances that we... this is why we need João Felix, man. Why is he trying to lob the keeper there? We've brought down Messi. It's a goal. It's over the bar. This is why we need João Felix. I can't believe we just missed that. I can't believe that. Oh my days. Oh my God. That is literally the chart. Look at us defending. Look how deep we are defending against PSG. That is kind of the opportunities, the chances that we're expecting or we want to try and nick the game. And unfortunately, we have lost the Champions League final to PSG. I mean, they only scored a penalty in the 3rd minute. We really, again, cancelled them out. They had 13 shots, 9 on target. Our goalkeeper had a decent game, but we did concede a penalty. And you can see the match momentum as well, how much we really did defend. So, do defensive tactics work on Football Manager? I mean, quite possibly. It does its job. It does its job. We're not expected to win every game because you are defending. So does it work? I would say it does work. So now back to Football Manager in La Liga. As you can see, we played 38, we won 28, we drew 8, which is kind of a lot of games to be drawing, and a lot of them, as you can see, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. Again, Seville, 0-0. Most of them are away from home as well, so you can see how we are shutting out our opponents. So for the game losses, we lost at home to Real Sociedad, well, Real San Sebastian on Football Manager, and we also lost 2-0 away to Rayo Vallecano, which is hugely disappointing, of course. In the Champions League, we still have that final to play, which we will play at the end of the video. We also have a Madrid derby as well to play in this video. In the Spanish Cup, we reached the final, but we lost 3-0, a heavy defeat to Real Madrid. And in the Spanish Super Cup, we got knocked out by Real Madrid once again in the semi-final. Now, looking at the stats in a little bit more detail, we're not going to go through everything because we really want to focus on the defensive side of things. So for the most tackles won, you can see Atletico Madrid on top, 679 tackles completed, and for the fewest conceded, we only conceded 13 goals. That is absolutely insane, and we had the most clean sheets as well with 27 clean sheets. Now looking at the team detail stats, we can actually have a look at how we conceded our goals. So we conceded 2 from corners, we conceded 2 from direct free kicks, and 1 from indirect free kick as well. So we conceded 5 from set pieces, 5 from the 13 that we actually conceded in La Liga. So only 8 from open play, only 8 goals in 38 games that we conceded from open play, which is very impressive. And looking at the interceptions as well, we are 14th with 708. We're not necessarily going to be very high in this list for the interceptions, for the tackles won, the blocks. We're not necessarily going to be right at the top, and that is mainly because we're mainly the better side. Generally, we are the better side, so we're not doing too much defending in a lot of these games. But if we now move over to the data hub, we can see the defending in a little bit more detail. So looking at the tackling, we were making a lot of tackles, but we were fairly poor with our tackling, where we're kind of in the middle, in between poor and strong. And then looking at our defending, you can see that we were quiet and impenetrable. Now, of course, all of this is a team effort, but I really want you guys to see how hard the midfield worked. So now looking at the players, the midfielders, we can see for their tackling, we made a lot of tackles and we were also strong as well. So the midfielders in the side are key to winning the ball back for your side. So make sure you take that in mind if you plan to use this tactic or plan to take some ideas from it. Now lastly, looking at our defensive data, you can see for the conceded per game, we're way above the average in La Liga. The expected goals against per game as well as the tackles attempted per game. The tackles won ratio, we're just about in the average. We're just about there, we just about make it. And of course, like I explained a little bit earlier, for the clearances, the blocks, the interceptions, we're not necessarily going to be number 1 because we're not defending for heavy periods of the game. That is only when we are playing the bigger teams such as Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, Liverpool. You get the point. And this is the pass map from our most recent game against Cadiz as well. Now I'll whip up a real life pass map from Atleti, and this is kind of general what you will see from Atleti as well against teams like Cadiz and Granada, when Atleti are the favourites to win the game. So you can see here we have our back 3, the wide centre backs, of course, stretching the play. We've got our number 6 in the middle. He's kind of the holding midfielder, whereas we've got the 2 wide central midfielders. Number 5 is going to be stretching more. Number 5 is going to be stretching a little bit more wider. We will explain why in the tactical analysis bit. And then you can see we have our wingers kind of joining the midfielders, and then we have our 2 strikers up top. But that there wraps up the results, the data, all of that good stuff. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. My name is RDF, and if you are new or you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you like the video, leave a comment, all of that good stuff. Shout out to my Patreons. I'll speak to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching this video and staying in tune. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Peace out.